Welcome back, guys, to 191 Media. Today we're going to review the movie Captain Fantastic, which was released in 2016.
Don't you mean Fapton Cantastic? Fapton Cantastic. I mean, Captain Fantastic.
Hey, Peter. God dang it, Bobby.
The movie was directed by Matt Ross and stars everyone's favorite actor, Viggo Mortensen, and some guy named George MacKay, and some other woman named Kathryn Hahn.
The main character, Ben, lives with his kids out in the wilderness, completely away from modern society. He teaches his kids how to hunt and make their own clothes and teaches them important knowledge about the world, but this is only done through the use of books. When a big life change happens to the family, they have to leave their secluded life and head into the big city. They go on a wacky adventure and their comfort levels are challenged. The family grows together and finds out that maybe they could just change. You know what you're gonna say?
Kind of. I'm just
Take a minute.
double checking everything.
2 hours later.
You want to smoke some death sticks? So Micah, after now we've both watched this movie, what are your initial thoughts or comments that you had about it?
Yeah, I actually really liked the movie and I didn't think I would like it. It's kind of a slow burner movie, but right in the beginning of the movie, it kind of transports you to the woods where the character Ben, played by Viggo Mortensen, he kind of has his family transported to the woods and they've been away from the big city for a while. Their family has been living in kind of hunting and making their own clothing and obviously killing for meat to survive. So they have really been away from the world for a while, and you can kind of tell that because a lot of the characters are almost awkward and they feel like, I felt like they weren't really involved in any of the world, and kind of like there's a conversation that one of the main characters had and he's talking to a girl and she's just talking about Star Trek and he has no clue what Star Trek is about. So it really kind of shows how sheltered Ben has made his children. And the whole movie, it kind of shows that he doesn't want to change, and maybe him and his wife have transported their kids to the wild, and he's very like almost the utopian kind of guy. Mm-hmm. So he's been very like anti-establishment, and you know, there's even a part where they go into a restaurant and they want to eat, and he's saying there's no real food on here. And so they get out and they end up going to a grocery store. And I thought it was a good family movie, not family movie in terms of the general sense, but it had a lot of good parts where there was like good music, and like the plot could have been a little bit better because there was some parts where I was questioning maybe why they had started living in the woods. Yeah, I don't know. What did you think, Matt? What did you think of the movie?
Yeah, just adding on to what you said a bit, it's hard to tell how long they're actually in the woods for, because I think it was the whole thing to do with the mom having some kind of like some mental issue happening, and they moved there, it would seem like for 3 years or so before the events of the movie, but it's really hard to say because the kids are so sheltered. Like I'm not sure if they were living in, normal society for the beginning of their lives, like, 10, 15 years, whatever. It just seemed like they had no knowledge of anything whatsoever. What I thought about this movie, going into this, I didn't watch any trailers. I'd never heard of it before. Micah just suggested it, saw it on Netflix, and I said, oh, Viggo Mortensen, that's Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. Perfect, that should be a good movie. So watching this was not my kind of movie in any way. It's definitely, it's a straight drama. Like there's no suspense, there's no building of thrills, there's no action whatsoever. I guess not in the general sense, like there's some events that happen throughout the movie, but in my opinion, I found it quite boring, to be honest. But apparently this was nominated for a few Oscars, or actually I think it might have been just one. Best Actor for Viggo Mortensen for the main role, which I think he could have won it for sure. He did a great job. All the kids did a good job. Just I found it super slow. Nothing really happened in the movie, in my opinion. There was like you said, the intro. They're living in the woods, and then the event happens with their family. They head to the big city, and then it's basically just them getting to the big city, and then they leave.
And there's a lot of like family drama within that. The one thing I did like a lot was the music aspect of it. and the music kind of brought the family together through all these hardships they were having. The one thing that was really good as well was they had some comedy, some comedic aspects to it too. But I understand what you're talking about with it being, you found it was a little bit more of a boring style movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, was it kind of a movie you were expecting?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. I guess with the name Captain Fantastic, it almost sounds like a superhero movie almost, but I knew it wasn't just from reading the plot summary before watching it. But it just seemed, I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting maybe more comedy because it was classified as that, but it was more just straight drama. There was some funny scenes, like when there's a scene where an officer tries to pull them over on this big bus and issue them a ticket, but then the kids are all against the establishment as taught by their father Ben, so they all just surround the cop and start preaching gospel really, really intensely to scare the cop off. What did you think of that scene? Did you like that scene?
I liked it a lot. I think they had been practicing it. It was like their version of training if they ever see a police officer. So I thought it was pretty funny. The other thing that I thought was interesting, and it was funny for the comedic aspect too, was Ben teaches his kids everything. So if it's like not considered taboo for a child to know, he will just tell them. Like there's so many just different parts where he has no filter for kind of keeping a child's, sanity, or I guess
keeping them innocent. Right? Yeah, it did deal with a lot of that. Like sex was a huge one where he just clearly, like, he gives his, I think she was 6 years old, and for her birthday, I think it was, gives her like a sex, like was it a book?
Yeah, it was a sex book.
Yeah, so essentially he's like, here you go, read this and learn what this is about. And then there's the scene where they're having dinner with like another family and it's dealing with discussion of suicide. And then he's just like, oh yeah, this is how she killed herself. This is how it happened. And then the regular family is just saying, oh my God, why would you say that? That's awful.
All right, guys, so it's trivia time now. So Matt, can you tell us more about the little shot that we see for like half a second?
A little. So there's this scene in the movie where it's totally unnecessary. I have no idea why they put this in the movie, but essentially Viggo, or Ben, the character Ben, comes out of the bus and he's just fully nude, and they do a full frontal and you see everything. Like, it's not even in a distance. It's like, this is not necessary. I did not expect to see Aragorn's dick in my lifetime. But hey, now I can cross off my bucket list, right?
Well, they also had like a few of the kids were like naked and stuff like that. They didn't show it, thankfully, but like,
yeah,
they were just talking about like, Ben was saying like, you need to be dressed while you're eating, and then all of a sudden he just gets a full frontal. So Matt, what did you think of the cinematography for Captain Fantastic?
I think it was done pretty well, actually. I had no complaints. It was well shot. Scenes were bright. I guess the scene that stuck with me, it was a short scene, but I think when they're pulling out from a funeral and then the bus is driving away and it kind of pans down and you see like the mountains in the road, that was like a really beautiful shot. So I still remember that, so that stuck with me. But yeah, no complaints. It was great, well shot, well lit, good sets. What did you think about it?
Yeah, I thought it was well done. Nothing like super stood out for me, but the one shot that I do remember being really good was Ben and his family come in for the funeral, and he just walks in with his like bright red suit. I thought that was really funny, but I think overall like landscape shots were really beautiful. Nothing I could really complain about. Maybe the only thing is dialogue and how it was written.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely could have fleshed out more relating to just the overall story. There wasn't too much dialogue. It just seemed like almost like watching a family just go about their day for like a couple weeks time span.
Mm-hmm.
Like there wasn't too much kind of looming behind them, like, okay, we gotta get to this end goal and then that's the movie. It's like, well, they have to go to the funeral and then that's it.
I wish they touched more on Ben's wife and like I wanted to know more about her because as a viewer, maybe I didn't care as much because I didn't know about her character. You see her come back in a flashback and it's like, that doesn't work. We as a viewer need to care about the character to be invested, and maybe the movie struggled because of that.
I think what this movie was going for was saying that, you have to not follow what society tells you and kind of go against it because society's bad. But then there's certain scenes where like you can clearly see what they were going for, like at the funeral, like you mentioned, when Ben and his family show up at the funeral. Of course, everyone's dressed in black, everybody's sad, and then his family shows up and they're all super happy, really bright clothes. And it kind of made me think like, oh, hey, like this person passed away. Maybe we should be more celebrating, like almost, not happy per se, but hey, this person was here, we knew her. Let's be happy and celebrate their life.
Well, in the movie, didn't they mention she was a Buddhist? So like
Yeah.
she believes in reincarnation. So this life is just another setting up for another life in the future for her.
Well, exactly. It definitely was. And I think by the end of the movie, it kind of came to a head to say, you can't really be only in one side. Like you can't be totally against, following societal norms, and also you can't be totally for it. You kind of have to be somewhere in the middle, kind of a little bit of one side, a little bit of the other.
I agree with you on that one. I thought towards the end, it was kind of like a little bit of both. Like they had their old life, but they also, Ben decided to bring his kids back to school because a big thing was there was a part in the movie where a police officer comes up to them and says, oh, your kids aren't in school. And they say, not today. And just never brought them to school because Ben thought that books and anything in a book was the only thing you needed to learn. Whereas you should be learning from like teachers and go to university. And there's a part in the movie where his son, played by George MacKay, actually talks about him getting accepted into university. Mm-hmm. And Ben was saying that you went behind my back, and his mom was the one that helped him get into university. So
I wish they explained on that a bit more. It's like, how did he apply to these places? He got accepted to every single top university in the States. What was on there? Like Harvard was one. I don't even remember the other ones, but there was I think a dozen of them that were shown. He was just like acceptance letter, acceptance.
I think it was implied that their mom wanted to change their life, like wanted to get out of the woods, try to live more of a normal life. Mm-hmm. Do you think it was almost implied that she maybe went insane because they were living there?
Yeah, they didn't really, I don't think they fully explained why they moved out there. Like what I think I understood was she started losing it a bit mentally. Like they said she had bipolar disorder. And I think maybe Ben thought they could fix that by going to the woods and kind of being out and secluded, but that almost made it worse, I feel.
I mean, you can't just go away from society completely. Like you need to have friends, you can see your family a lot, but you need to be around people. Like that's gonna change someone completely, just sitting around and being in the woods, like not going to even a grocery store, like normal things we do in life. So yeah, they could have explained that a lot more.
So after watching this movie and our discussion about it, who would you recommend to watch this movie?
Socialists. I would recommend this movie to people that maybe want to get off the grid. I know there's a lot of people that live out in the woods. They just get sick of living with people. Like we live in such a hustle and bustle society, right? Like
Dude, the hustle and the bustle.
Edgy. Yeah, I'd recommend this movie to maybe someone who's anti-establishment, trying to get out into the woods, live a different life. It's more of a drama movie, so maybe people that are more into that would be more excited about it. It wasn't my type of movie, but I feel like I liked it because Viggo was really good in the movie, and he kind of maybe accelerated the acting for the other younger characters too. But it was missing a lot of plot holes, and I wish that they talked more about Ben's wife in the movie.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd say if you like drama movies, good acting, I'd almost say this movie is intended for more maybe older audiences who have big families or, who've gone through a lot of life experience and you just want to sit down and watch almost like a slow burner, essentially. If you just like straight dramas, this is the movie for you.
Thanks for watching our review, guys. For 191 Media, I'm Micah.
I'm Matt, and please, if you have a second, like, comment, and subscribe. Cheers.